cut off here. Aaron Taylor Johnson, the dad.
Yeah.
What was his character's name again?
It was
Jamie.
Craven the Hunter.
Jamie. You found the Untitled Film Project Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about 28 years later. Danny Boyle returns to the franchise that really just stuck in people's heads from so many years ago, not 28, in which the world is plunged into chaos with really fast zombies. 3 decades later, we come in with a fresh cast, a new take on things, and a return to the gritty, apocalyptic nature that is the 28 franchise.
Eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boom, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the wall.
We'll also talk about the big question.
And that big question is, what would be your personal horror movie? What would scare you so much that if you were seeing this on screen, this would be your horror movie because you hate it so much? I can imagine what Gover's could be.
I really expected this movie to return to that special quality that made 28 Days Later such a cult classic. And I got it. And the fact that Alex Garland came in and wrote too, I maybe didn't like every turn that it took, but I was delighted that I could not see those turns. And where it went was really interesting. I'm still processing.
I'm not necessarily one of those fans of horror that loves lots of gore and demolishing of bodies and things like that. And that's why I like this, is because there is depth to this movie. There's way more depth because it ended up being a coming-of-age film, is what it truly was. You're getting set in the world of the 28 world, right, of what's happening after this anger virus, which I do want to note, everyone, they aren't zombies and undead. They're very much alive, suffering from an anger virus. So therefore, spoiler alert, they can procreate. They can do so many other things. It changes their body mechanics, right? It changes so many things, but they're not the undead. And I think that's maybe confusing some people because you think how long it's been between the 28 days and 28 years because you retcon 28 weeks. And pull it. I mean, it's a different world. Like, you're not living in a zombie world like we traditionally think of zombies. They're still very much alive. So I like how they approach that and how Spike has some problems because they're still human in a different way. Right, so that's why the depth. I talk about the depth of it. I really enjoyed the depth of this as a coming-of-age story, and that's why it meant more to me re-exploring this as horror, because it was not just pure horror. And that's important, I think, to audiences, and why there's some discrepancies in some ways that people see this, from critics to audiences, is that there's expectations, as we've talked about in different movies before, especially the horror element. People want and expect certain things. But I enjoyed it more because of the depth that they took into this and because of the stakes that were at hand. And I just love seeing the growth of Spike, who I thought he did a very good job. This young actor, Alfie Williams, did a phenomenal job as a young actor as well, too. So, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the world. I know we're going to be getting more of this, and I just will talk more in depth for sure about other elements we saw in here, but I enjoyed it.
Alfie Williams carried this movie. If he's not in it, it's a complete train wreck.
Saying a lot, man, for a young actor,
right? It's not good, you guys. This is, admittedly, this is not my genre. I don't care for the horror and the zombie, air quotes, thing. That being said, I can still appreciate, and hopefully this guy's going to attest to that. I can still appreciate things that I don't really care for, right? Like, I thought Wicked, just for example, was the greatest movie of 2024. That was my number one on my ballot for the Music City Film Critics Association. Not a musical fan. It's well stated on this show. But I still, I respected it so much and appreciated it so much, it was number one on my ballot. So my point in saying that is, it doesn't matter, this is not my genre. I still thought what I thought, and I didn't care for this. Again, without Alfie Williams. His death was awesome. His acting was incredible. I think he shot this when he was 11 and 12 years old. This is the next great star. That's how good he is in this. If it's not him, if it's a lesser actor, it's bad. So that's my initial take on 28 years later.
All right, let's go a little deeper on 28 years later.
We get a look that the outside world still exists. And that I thought was very unique to me because I wasn't sure after the whole 28 days, and even though you retcon 28 weeks, right? Is the world still out there in existence? They do show things about quarantine zone, things like that. But we get someone from the Nordic regions who's a member of the military that has a cell phone that's working with apps and everything, and they're living normal lives, basically, outside. We didn't know going in if this is a worldwide phenomenon, if it was just to the British Isles. How is this going to be affected? So I like the element there too. Like, the world still exists. These people are outliers.
They're going through hell over here.
Yeah, and the rest of the world's moved on, and technology still exists and everything. 20 years later, that they've progressed what we normally would see in our world right now with the use of technology. So that was curious to me because I went, whoa, wasn't expecting that, because you have people living in the British Isles are living like it's the late 1800s. Basically, with the technology.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that's what was unique to me in the story, is that you have people that have, I won't say chosen, but they are stuck. They're literally stuck where they're at, and the technology is stuck, everything's stuck, and they're basically forced to live here because there's no way to escape right now. They haven't figured that out.
Right. It's Survivor, but the island is bigger.
Yeah.
Right? I love the casting of this. We've already talked about Alfie Williams as Spike. I'm a huge Jodie Comer fan.
Yes.
To bring depth to his mother, Aaron Taylor Johnson, as a very flawed father who ends up disappointing his son Spike. He's not the man that he thought he was. So, like, there's great exploration there, that coming of age and that disillusionment that the people that are most important to you in your life are not what you thought they were. His mother, it's not a character issue. She's sick, but his father is definitely a flawed person who disappoints him. He sees with his own eyes how his father has let him down, and then he has to become a man. I loved that arc. I loved the people they chose to play it. Let's talk about Ralph Fiennes, who, covered in what looked like blood, iodine.
Right. And not kooky like they thought.
Yeah.
Like full of depth and human.
Mm-hmm. For a while, you just think he's this like feral thing living out there, and in a way, he is. It definitely had a like Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now. You're going deep into the forest, and you're finding this guy who's kind of made his little kingdom. But I thought Ralph Fiennes was a really cool character. I was expecting that character to be a little one-dimensional.
And what got me, those are those moments where I was feeling like there was the most human element in the films, because he's talking about the value and talking that they had value. The skulls, all the skulls are the bones that he's built, and talking about the value that these people had and that they're not forgotten. This is how you remember them. This is how you honor them as well, too. So it's just
as weird as it is.
As weird as it is, and you look at the movie poster and you see like this Tower of Skulls, and you're thinking it's going to be dark.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Immediately you think darkness, but no, that's the most light in the movie, is talking about the humans behind the skulls and how it's the respect for their souls is why he's honoring them this way. So I really enjoy that, especially the nice little flip from him being presented as kooky and this weird doctor that he doesn't know how to practice, and then all of a sudden he's the one that's able to help bring closure to Spike and to Isla as well, too, and say, look, let's take care of this now. Let's put you out of your misery.
It's a different kind of healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for him to be able to diagnose that and then also help Spike along the way. So again, when you're in moments of crisis like this, whether it's a zombie movie or any movie like this, you're looking for what's human. You're looking what still remains of a soul and what remains of what's positive of being people, right? He brought that back in after they'd experienced loss or being attacked or Spike having to come of age by having to kill other people to get through. He brought the human element, and that's what made me appreciate that character so much. Even the brief moment in time he's really on the screen, he brought that feeling of soul back.
For me, the pinnacle scene is the birth of the baby and the ensuing alpha fight through the train cars. Was that the climax of this movie for you guys, or was it some other scene?
That was the part that I was most invested in. I didn't see it coming. It was obviously a very clear connection between mother to mother, even though, Comer's character, of course, is, troubled and, has feeling the effects of her illness. The fact she was able to still connect with this other being and be a mom to mom and help out, right? Even if it's going to endanger them, that kind of thing. I thought that was awesome. That probably 3 to 4 minute window of time was the most I enjoyed the film. And Eric, of course, was awesome in that because Eric character is on the screen for about 12 minutes, and he was, other than Alfie Williams, of course, he was the best character in this movie. He was hilarious and awesome, broke that tension. It was way too long until it got to him.
And during that scene, that was when I was probably most on the edge of my seat because there's decision making happening every second. Right. Every second a decision is being made.
Realistic decision making,
yes,
which I'm going to get to in my final scores.
Do you deliver the baby? What do you do? They're obviously infected. Is she going to attack after you deliver the baby? What's going to happen with the baby? Is the baby infected? Oh my gosh, what's going to, every single moment there's another decision being made, and that's keeping you to where you're holding your breath, to where finally you breathe, and all of a sudden here comes Alpha. It's just one of those moments where it's just nonstop for a good 5 to 7 minutes right there too, and then also giant schlong. But also that's been on TikTok, the star of the film.
That's another character.
Should be on IMDb. You're like, is that a prosthetic or is it real?
It's prosthetic. If it was not a prosthetic, no, I'm being real. If it was not a prosthetic, there were other prosthetics that were obvious.
Right, yes.
Which is one of my points we're going to get to. Yes. And so I assumed it was.
Sure.
So I was like, wow, that's not, you're not even hiding that.
I know, derailing a little bit, right?
Yeah, sorry,
But no, me. I started it.
Right.
But I've had people ask me, I haven't seen the movie. It's like, I've seen so many TikToks. How long is this on the screen? I'm like, a second maybe.
At the most.
And it's become this whole viral sensation. This is what happens with social media in the funniest way possible. Split second on the screen, the star. But anyways, yes, I think that was the climax in terms of the decision making of exploration of the human element as well too, and exploration too of not just mother baby and mother, but father baby.
Right.
How often do we see in movies where it's like Jurassic Park era, right, with the eggs, just give the egg back, right? Just wants the egg, and you'll be fine. Just give the egg. No, I'm not gonna do it. Alpha's just trying to get the baby at this point. So, that's my baby.
Aliens, the mother, is coming. Yeah,
so those humanizes the infected also. Yes, you're thinking, the mom is still enough to need support and understand that, and then the father, the alpha, comes around, whether he's the actual father or not, I don't know, but I'm saying he's still protecting his clan, right? Yeah. So it's like, he's protecting that, and he understands that the baby's vulnerable. So there's some human connections there,
animalistic, the instincts are still there because we are animals.
Yes.
It's even though there's the infected with the virus, again, they're still human. There's still so many elements of that too. So yes, I would say that is the climax then, Jim.
Yeah. For me, it was odd because I wouldn't have expected as much movie that happened after that point in the film. Right. So we've got the doctor and that whole kind of healing, just really emotional, and the existential questions of humanity and remembering and all that stuff. And then we have what came as kind of a really odd twist at the end is all of a sudden he meets up with this band of Clockwork Orange Renaissance Festival people that, flip with panache, as they're like, we're killing. That was so weird. It was almost like they had started the next movie before this one finished.
Just Jimmy's gang, man.
And
they tied it back to the beginning. And I think that's that singular scene at the very, very end is what has dropped its audience score so much. Just one scene has killed that movie for a lot of people.
Because people are walking out with that immediate, that's the last thing they remember.
It's killed the movie for a lot of people.
You can make an argument that there are movies where the last 15 minutes are so great, even though the movie's kind of like, we're like, oh, it was so good, because you're just remembering the last 15 minutes.
Recency bias is a thing.
Yes.
Right. What have you left people with? And I didn't like it. I mean, that's probably going to take a point off the score, because to me, it was a bad decision. Now that artists can do whatever they want. Alex Garland, and Danny Boyle working together. I mean, Alex Garland has a reputation for kind of leaving you hanging in this like weird place, Annihilation and Men, and just go through a lot of his work. I love it because it challenges me, but it also doesn't satisfy. All right, let's get final scores. 28 years later. What did it do for you, Bradford?
The story had depth. And for me to enjoy horror, it either needs to have depth of characters and plot or eye roll comedy. It needs to be one of two things in there. I can't handle, and I've talked about this plenty of times, I can't handle just gore for the sake of gore, or especially like religious horror. It messes with my mind, right? So I have come to appreciate horror more thanks to the encouragement here of us branching out of what we typically watch, because we want to make sure we're covering so many different genres of film. And I like it when this type of thing comes up, because there's more of an exploration of the world and of people set within horror. Because there are plenty of gory moments that happen in this film. That is not the focal point. The focal point is Spike and his coming of age, saving his mom, or finding closure with his mom, and just exploring the world that it is, so we can branch out further of like, okay, how far out does this go? It's all about the human element. I like when that happens in a movie, because then there's depth and we can have a discussion. And everybody's going to agree on it or things like that. And that's important when you have the human element in horror, because I think in so many other horror films, it's like, okay, we entertain. What do you think about that? I think there's only so much depth you can go into a discussion sometimes on the filmmaking process and the acting in a horror film. But when you had so many layers, it makes me truly enjoy the experience of the world building that is going on. So I'm looking forward to see what happens next in this whole realm here too, because I think there's still plenty to explore, especially because we got that tease of the real world being out there that has progressed on without people in Great Britain.
Right.
What else is there? And
they've been written off.
They have been. And so that's where, while I get where it's the moment with Jimmy's gang coming out, I'm curious how much that's going to last in there. It's kind of like the handoff moment with Guardians and Thor.
Right.
It's like, okay, you get like 5 minutes. Okay, now we've moved on to the story. That was just the segue. The weird, kooky jumpsuit Russian mafia in New York City segue. Right? So I'm not saying to give it a pass, but it's not enough to completely derail for me, because overall the movie itself I truly did appreciate and enjoy. And so with that, I give it an 8.
Okay. I was definitely challenged by this movie, and I like to be challenged. I like to not have a very simple walk away. This was good, it's bad. This movie is gray in so many ways, and I liked the emotional portion of this, the humanity of this. I loved what the doctor's character did in this movie. It just took us in a direction I did not expect. I thought it was a little weird ending, which to me left me in a bad place. But there's so much about this movie that I'm still processing. I'm 24 hours from seeing this movie, and so my score might go up, might go down as I still continue to process. At this point, I'm going to give it a 7.5, and it might change. Check with me. Stop me on the street. Gover, what do you think?
Alfie Williams carried this movie. End of story. He was great. Again, all the performances were great. Okay, but he's such a focal point. He's basically the lead, right, in this entire movie. It doesn't work without him, with a lesser actor. So to find somebody of his age with that kind of skill, whether it was the director who got out of him, or he's just naturally born with that, or whatever, it was an acting coach 2 years ago, whatever it was. I mean, mad props. Really, really great. I thought the exposition was awesome. That's how you do exposition. He's teaching his son about the world they're about to go to, because he's also teaching the audience what's about to happen. That's how you do it. Not a, tell me, Dad. okay, son. And then 15 minutes of just stuff.
Here's a chart.
It's super realistic. Love that. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the movie ends for me, as far as the good stuff, right? Like he carried it. So every time he was on screen, it was really great. But they put themselves in a lot of stupid situations. Don't stop. They stop. Don't go in there. They go in there. It's why I hate horror movies, because it's things like that. It's totally different if you do a horror movie like this, where there's more realistic things happening. But the jump scares for no reason, the jump scare to the scary thing. There's nothing scary happening, but they're walking through the mid-earth, or I don't know, whatever they're called, the mainland. Sorry, they're walking through the mainland, and nothing's happening, and nothing's gonna happen for a while, and the director knows that, and so he puts this jump scare in there. All of a sudden they're walking, and he has a delusion that the zombie people are running at him, and the music cues, or whatever, just all the
Wakes
tricks.
up from a dream. Yeah,
it's just super annoying. So musical cues give it away. Prosthetics were obvious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If Alfie Williams is not in this, it's probably a 3. I mean, it's just, I could not stand it.
Wouldn't be a story without him.
5.5 is what I'm giving it. I didn't even have a good time, but I enjoyed his performance to the point where I said, right, he's the next big star. This kid is going to be awesome, or at least be set up to be awesome. We all know things can happen. Agents can give him bad roles. I mean, there's all kinds of things, right? His parents it's a whole thing. But he is promising as anybody I've seen in a long time, probably since Ariana Greenblatt. I mean, that's how good he is. So 5.5.
On the Untitled Film Project Podcast, we always ask a big question.
And that big question is, what would be basically your personal hell? If you were experiencing a horror movie, what would be your horror movie? You can interpret that however you want, whether it's watching on screen or you having to live through it. But what would be your horror movie? Gover, we're going to start with you.
Do you want my
all your
tongue-in-cheek answer, or do you want my real answer?
I want both.
Yeah, give me tongue-in-cheek first.
All right, tongue-in-cheek first is dating someone younger. I'm happily married, obviously, to a beautiful woman. But the reason I bring this up at all is because about, I don't know, let's see, my son was like 1. So 11, 12 years ago, I had to pick up a person because I offered them a free ticket that I had to an event, and they said they didn't have a ride. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. And I think she was probably 17 or 18 at the time. And that means I was probably 35, 36, 37, somewhere around there. And let me tell you, that 20-year gap, woo! I felt every bit of that in conversation in the car. We didn't hang out at the event because that wasn't the point. Like, it wasn't, it was just, hey, here's a ticket. See you later. But on the way to and from, wow! Like, oh, my friends and I took our tests last week for school.
No connecting whatsoever.
It was just like, I can't relate to any of this. So that is my tongue-in-cheek answer, is dating someone younger.
It's a much longer tongue-in-cheek answer than I was expecting.
I know, sorry.
What's your real one?
Being on an endless flight. It's like, I'm going to fly to, let's say, Japan. And then I'm going to get off at Japan. But then I'm really going to make a plane change and fly to England. And then I'm going to get off in England at Heathrow, and then I'm going to get off and then get back on another plane and fly to America. And just endless flights.
You would never eat.
No, or go to the bathroom. I would do nothing.
Because you can't do those on planes?
It was it'd be unbelievably terrible. Endless flying. That's my answer.
I had a feeling.
28 flights later. Oh, that's...
All right. This is a weird personal horror movie for me. It would be stuck in a small, people have these really nice home theaters with, seating and everything. And everybody's in a room, and all the other people in that room really love peak awful reality television, late 2000s, and they buy it. They believe everything is happening as it happens. They don't think anybody is acting, and they don't think that the producers have set up every situation for forced drama, and they're buying it. And I'm yelling, this was all set up by the producers. This is crap. This is garbage. They created this god-awful stuff because there was a writer's strike around the year 2000. And then this took off because you idiots are buying this hook, line, and sinker. And it just keeps playing these shows, and they're just enjoying it, and they're laughing, and I'm just screaming, don't you understand? Ah! That is hell for me.
Wow. Okay.
I don't have an argument for that.
No.
Reality TV it's a sub-level of hell for me.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I have a social battery that only lasts so long. And I did experience my own personal hell here recently at a conference.
Oh.
So I can only imagine if this was a horror movie and I'd have to be stuck in this world. But it is having to network in a room of people that I do not know, and you're forced to do it.
That's rough.
Is that your job?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. No,
but occasionally it is forced upon some of us.
Here's what it was. All the first timers for this conference were invited to go up for a networking event. I am fine with networking if there's a true sincerity behind the networking, right? Like you have a true connection with someone, you see there's a reason why we need to connect. Like go over your day jobs in nonprofit as well too.
Yes.
We can network over working in a nonprofit. Yep. Very different industries of nonprofit.
Yep.
But nonprofit, you can relate to something. Jim, we can talk radio, we can talk hockey, we can talk so many different things, right? Like there's ways to connect with people instead of just like, hi, I want to connect on LinkedIn, and nothing of it. Like forced networking is my hell. So in this, you have to like, you're supposed to put a question of like what kind of leader you want to be to help initiate conversations with other people. Oh, and then it's in a room that is packed. Like if the room was nowhere near as big as it should have been. And I guess the organizers just underestimated, so I don't want to blame them because some people love this stuff, right? So more power to you if you're good at it and you love it. I was literally Grandpa Simpson in the meme.
Yelling at clouds?
No, and seeing Bart working the hostess stand at the little chalet, right? Like, doop, boop, doop, boop, doop, right out. Like, I walked in, assessed the situation, didn't talk to one other soul in that room, and immediately skedaddled. Like it was one of social battery. You know how some apps on your phone will drain your battery 50% as soon as you open it up. That's exactly what happened. Like without even talking to someone, my social battery went, we're done. Like I cannot handle networking for the sake of networking, and especially being forced in a situation. So you lock that door, I'll be clawing at it just to escape or jumping out a window.
I've never wanted to hear more of everyone's response to a big question than this one. Hit us with it. Is it a timeshare that you didn't know what you thought it was a steak dinner? And then you're cornered? What is it? Or is it, I hate birds? I know some people that that's
my wife's answer actually right that.
So if you are watching on YouTube, hit us up with the comments below. If you're listening to the podcast, you can find us on socials and tell us your personal hell. You can find me. It's Jim Chandler now.
It's go overtime.
Justin B. Bradford.
By the way, it's Jim Chandler now. When I said it was like before his social handle. At Jim Chandler.
Jim Chandler now.
It's on the screen.
No, it's not.
It will be.
Great.
Making more work for the editor.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.